Time and again, we're asked to believe that the EU is a bastion of democracy in the face of overwhelming evidence to the contrary. Rather, it holds democracy in contempt. When citizens elect the wrong government, like in Greece, the gloves come off in Brussels and that government is crushed. When citizens vote the wrong way in a referendum in Ireland, they're made to vote again. And after denouncing foreign agents' laws abroad, now the Commission wants one here at home. We've a Defence of Democracy package that has 200 NGOs ringing alarm bells because of the threat it poses to civil society. And the crowning irony of this is that this package from the Commission of Ursula von der Leyen, a person elevated to power without a single vote from the citizens, who has spent the last 2 months swooping in and overriding the foreign policies of elected governments, all to cheerlead a brutal apartheid regime that she calls a vibrant democracy as it pulverises a city of children. Well, my God, with defenders of democracy like that, I think I speak for many, many citizens of Europe when I say Nein Danke, no thanks, Frau Genocide.
This is my video update on this Tuesday midday, December the 26th. Let's talk about some news. And let's start things off with the Israeli airstrikes in Damascus, Syria, which killed a top Iranian commander, Saeed Razi Mousavi, a top IRGC commander, killed in Syria from Israeli airstrikes. This is a big escalation on the part of Netanyahu, and it does look like Netanyahu is trying to widen this conflict out. So we will wait and see if, when, how Iran will retaliate to this assassination of one of their top military commanders. I believe the Iranian foreign minister posted on Twitter X, Tel Aviv should wait for a hard countdown. I'm not exactly sure what that means, or if this is a proper translation. Tel Aviv should wait for a hard countdown. But that was posted by Iran's foreign minister following the assassination of Saeed Razi Mousavi. Following the killing of this top Iranian commander, you did have a huge power outage throughout Israel. Now, some reports claim this was a cyber attack. Maybe this was the beginning of some sort of a retaliation from Iran. Maybe this was something else. I'm not sure, but that happened pretty much after the assassination was announced. It hit the news wires. So let's see. Let's wait and see what happens now. Hopefully we don't get a widening out of this conflict, but it looks like that is what Netanyahu is trying to accomplish here. Airstrikes in Syria killing a top Iranian commander. An update on what's going on with the situation in the Red Sea. We are getting reports that Operation Prosperity Guardian is now starting to escort ships through the Red Sea. And we have had an announcement from the shipping company Maersk. They have said that they will now start allowing their container ships to travel through the Red Sea because they feel confident with the Operation Prosperity Guardian warship escort that they will be getting as they move through the Red Sea, hoping to avoid Houthi drone attacks. So it looks like we're going to start to see ships moving through the Red Sea under the protection of Operation Prosperity Guardian. But no indications that Operation Prosperity Guardian is going to be launching an attack against Yemen or even against Iran. It looks like the operation has now been contained to providing a warship escort to containers that want to move through the Red Sea. And the New York Times actually put out an article the other day, and they said that Saudi Arabia was against any type of actions by the United States towards Yemen because, according to the New York Times, MBS did not want another war in Yemen because Saudi Arabia, MBS, what he is trying to do is attract investment in Saudi Arabia, tourism actually, and investment, because his goal is to make Saudi Arabia into a tourist and foreign investment hub, something like I guess you would say Dubai or something like that. And he was against any type of operation that would pull in Yemen and Iran and maybe even Saudi Arabia. He was against that. He did not want to see any types of Yemen missiles once again hitting Saudi Arabia as he's trying to attract investment and tourism into the country. So that was an interesting report from the New York Times. Now let's get to some more big news. And yesterday, Shoigu, the Russian defense minister, he sat down with Russian President Putin, and he told the Putin that the town of Marinka had been fully captured by the Russian military. This is huge news because this town, this city town, this has been an area of fighting now for the past, I don't know, 9 months now. It's been built up over the last 9 years by Ukraine and NATO. They've fortified this town west of Donetsk, and they've turned it into a fortress where they have been launching missile strikes towards Donetsk city from Marinka and Avdiivka. And now it looks like the Russians, well, it definitely looks like the Russians have fully captured this town of Marinka. It also shows how conservative the Russian military is, because we were getting reports of Marinka's capture about a week and a half ago. And it's only until yesterday where Sergei Shoigu announced to Putin and to all of Russia that Marinka had indeed been fully captured. It really speaks to the conservative nature of the Russian military. So that was huge news. Very, very big news. The town of Marinka is officially under Russian control, as reported by Suryak Maps. And as Shoigu told Putin that Marinka is fully under Russian control, the Zelensky regime immediately denied these claims from the BBC. Ukraine denies Russian capture of key town near Donetsk. Keep in mind that the Zelensky regime, they still deny that Bakhmut has been captured. So right away they come out and they say, no, Russia has not captured the town of Marinka. This is more Russian disinformation. But how do you know that Russia has indeed captured the town of Marinka? I'll tell you how you know that what Sergei Shoigu, the defense minister, is telling Putin is 100% true. We know it's 100% true because Ukraine started to launch all kinds of missile attacks towards Crimea in order to distract away from the news that Russia had captured Marinka, because this is an important town, and every time Russia captures an important town or piece of territory, what does Ukraine do? They distract. And how do they distract? Usually they distract by launching scout missiles or ATACMS or Storm Shadows or HIMARS towards Crimea. That's how they pretty much distract away from any type of Russian news of some sort of a town being captured. And so that's what happened yesterday. As Shoigu was announcing the capture of Marinka, the Ukraine military, they launched what looks to be scalp missiles into Crimea, and one of the scalp missiles appears to have gotten through Russian air defenses, and it hit the port city of Feodosia in Crimea, and it caused quite a big blast. Now, some reports claim that this blast was from the Scalp missile hitting a fuel tank, and other reports say that this missile, and it is believed to be a Scalp missile, other reports say that this missile hit a landing ship that was docked at this port. The landing ship of Novocherkassk. Now, I don't know which report is true. The Russian Ministry of Defense, I don't think at the time of recording this video, I don't think they have issued any statement with regards to this missile strike in Crimea. But if Ukraine did indeed hit a landing ship, well, it's a landing ship that is not used in this conflict. Now, reports are that one person has been killed in this missile strike and several other people were injured. But as far as, say, the Kerch Bridge or transportation or movement of vehicles, it looks like everything is moving normally in Crimea at the moment. But if this was indeed a landing ship, then this makes zero difference with regards to the actual conflict that is taking place right now in Crimea. So that's what I've got for you with regards to this Scout missile attack on Crimea. But that's how you know that Marinka has indeed been captured. Distraction from the Zelensky regime. And we have some more distraction from the Zelensky regime, because we have all of this news, once again, that started coming out right about the same time that Russia was announcing the full capture of Marinka. All this news about Ukraine downing 1, 3, 5, 6, and now I believe it's up to 10 fighter jets. And even Zelensky, during his nightly TikTok, Instagram video statement, he hailed the victory of shooting down what he says are 5 Russian fighter jets in a week. That is what he said during his Instagram TikTok video that he puts out almost every evening. So the reports that I've been seeing are that anywhere between 1 to 3 fighter jets were lost. And I say the word lost because no one really knows what happened. And the most up-to-date reports that I've been reading is that in actuality, what we know right now is that one Russian fighter jet has been lost, and we don't even know the circumstances around the downing of that fighter jet. Some sources claim it was some sort of malfunction. Other sources claim that Ukraine took down this fighter jet in an ambush. I've read other sources which claim this was an F16. I don't buy that for 1 second. And other sources, I've actually read other reports which say that the fighter jet was even taken down by friendly fire. Now, the 3 fighter jets, the reliable reporting on the claim that Ukraine took down 3 fighter jets, I think has been pretty much debunked, because a lot of the imagery that has been put out there by various Telegram channels are actually using images and photos from 2022 in order to make the case that Ukraine took down 3 Russian fighter jets. So I don't buy the 3 fighter jets narrative at all. Now the 5 fighter jets, well, I think this is Ukraine disinformation, if you want my honest opinion on things. As Ukraine always does whenever they manage some sort of a military success, or Russia has some sort of military setback, which is going to happen in a war. What Ukraine does is they amplify. Not only do they amplify the setback or the success, they stretch it out. They make it much bigger than what it really was. And they do this quite effectively, and they do this often, regularly. This is their MO of how they put out disinformation. So one fighter jet becomes 3, and in 2 days it becomes 5. And I read reports yesterday evening which put the number of fighter jets lost in a week's time to 6, and all the way up to 10. So just nonsense, in my opinion. It's nonsense. But the collective West media, they're picking up on this. The Guardian put out an article with the title, Zelensky hails downing of Russian jet in upbeat Christmas message. Ukraine celebrates holiday on the 25th of December rather than the 7th of January for the first time in a move to distance itself from Russia. That's the title from The Guardian, and all of the collective West media, they picked up on this 5 or 6 or 10 fighter jet downing in 1 week that the Zelensky regime is pushing out there. So what happened? I don't know. I think the evidence right now points to 1 fighter jet being lost, and we still don't know exactly how that happened. I don't think the Russian Ministry of Defense has put out a statement about this fighter jet as of the moment of recording this video, but I think it's safe to say at this moment in time that 1 fighter jet has been downed or has been lost. Maybe it's 3, 5 I think is fiction, 10 is fantasy. But let's do this. Let's say Zelensky said 5 fighter jets in 1 week. Let's say that did happen. What does this do for the trajectory of the conflict? Nothing. Nothing. Russia has something like 4,000 aircraft and something like, I don't even know, 1,000 like fighter jets ready to go. mean, they have a huge air force. Ukraine is struggling to pick up 20 or 30 F-16s. I mean, they've been begging the collective West for the last 6 months to give them 12, 20, 30, 40 F-16s. And Russia has 1,000 like fighter jets just waiting to be used. So does this change anything? Not really. Even if the claims for Zelensky are true, this doesn't really make a difference to the actual outcome of this conflict, which is that Ukraine has lost. Now, what it does do for Zelensky, and this is the purpose of this narrative creation, what it does do is that, once again, distracts away from Marinka, from the capture of Marinka. And as we head into the new year and we get closer to January 9th, which is the day when Congress reconvenes, I believe it's the 8th or the 9th, what it does do for the Zelensky regime is that it gives him some perceived victories that he can then go to Congress, to the Republicans, and say, look, you see what I did over the 2-week holiday? I took out 10, 20, 30 Russian jets. Imagine what I could do if you gave me $61 billion. If I got $61 billion, I will be able to capture all of Crimea. That's the case that Zelensky wants to make. So I think all of this fighter jet stuff, in my opinion, and I could be completely wrong. Maybe the evidence comes out, or the Russian Ministry of Defense comes out with a statement and says, yeah, Ukraine shot down 5 fighter jets of ours. Or we get some hard evidence which says that, yes, 5 Russian fighter jets were destroyed. So I could be wrong, but I don't think so. I don't think so. This whole narrative to me is all about distraction and setting things up for the new year so that Zelensky can make the case for $61 billion. Now, Ukraine analysts, they say that even Russian telegram channels are talking about 3 fighter jets being downed. But which channels, which telegram channels are they citing? Who knows? Are these reputable telegram channels? How do we know these aren't Ukraine CIA psyops? Remember the telegram channel that was supposed to be a pro-Russian telegram channel that coerced Russians in, where was it, in Dagestan, to go to the airport when that Israeli plane landed, and then we found out that this was a Ukrainian psyop telegram channel with 50,000 subscribers, and everyone thought this was a pro-Russian telegram channel. So they're citing all these telegram channels which are saying that Ukraine took out 3 fighter jets or 5 fighter jets, but there's no real evidence. There's no real evidence as of this moment. Once again, maybe there will be evidence which says that, yes, 5 fighter jets were knocked down. But, you know, I've seen this over and over again throughout this 2-year conflict, and it seems like the Zelensky cheerleaders and the collective West politicians and the mainstream media, they fall for it all the time, which is that when Russia accomplishes something, they come up with various distractions and various other narratives or perceived victories. And that's how this has gone over the past 2 years. So anyway, that's my thoughts on this fighter jet incident. We'll see over the next week or two if we get any more information. That's what I think this is all about. Distraction and money. Zelensky making a push for the 61 billion. And that takes us to the F-16s, which is another big talking point from the Zelensky regime. Yesterday, I think yesterday, we actually got a promo teaser of the F-16s arriving in Ukraine. No joke. No joke, the Zelensky scriptwriters and the production team, and it really is, the Zelensky administration really is a team of scriptwriters and producers and directors and one clown actor comedian. They put out another promo video. They love to create promo videos. And this promo video is of a pilot, an actor pilot, walking into a room, and there is a shiny F-16. And the pilot actor is wearing an Air Force jacket and the nice lighting and the hangar and all of these things. A promo video for the F-16s that are about to enter the theater of battle. Those F-16s from the Netherlands, from Mr. Mark Rutte, Klaus Schwab's favorite protege, Mr. Mark Rutte, who has even received an award from Klaus Schwab. He is donating 42 F-16s to Ukraine, and 18 of those should be arriving to Kiev or somewhere in Ukraine, or maybe Romania. They should be arriving into the battle in the next couple of weeks, couple of months. Who knows? Maybe they're already there. Maybe they are already there. And so there's a whole lot of hype about the F-16s now. We even got a promo video, a trailer for the F-16s. And Forbes, they put out an article with the title, "Any Day Now, Ukraine Will Finally Get Its F-16s." So are the F-16s going to make a difference in this conflict? The answer is no. No, they're not. They're not going to make a difference. 42, 52, 62 F-16s are not going to turn the tide of this conflict in Ukraine's favor. Not at all. Not going to happen. Now, the real problem that I see with the F-16s is not so much the actual new wonder weapon, which Russia will deal with. And boy, is it going to be interesting if F-16s enter the conflict. Boy, is it going to be interesting when Russia starts shooting down those F-16s. Whew, you talk about the media surrounding the destruction of Leopard tanks. Just wait to see what happens when Russia starts downing F-16s, if F-16s enter the conflict. But the real big question, the real big concern, what we should all be looking at with regards to the F-16s, if they actually enter the conflict, is where are they taking off from? That's the big question. That's the big concern. Obviously, these are not going to be Ukrainian pilots. These are going to be NATO pilots. So when the Russians shoot down an F-16, the F-16, in my opinion, will be piloted by Romanian pilots, by pilots from the Netherlands, from Norway, from the US, from Poland. Who knows? I've read reports, not confirmed. These are not confirmed reports, that the US has actually gone around and recruited retired pilots to take these F-16s into the conflict. I can't confirm that. But where are these F-16s going to take off from? Most people are guessing Romania or Poland. And we've had multiple statements from multiple Russian officials saying that the country from which the F-16s take off from, they are going to be considered a party to this conflict, an active party to this conflict. So if those F-16s take off from Romania, the Russians have signaled, I'm not saying they're going to do this, but they've signaled that they could hit the airfields in Romania from where the F-16s are taking off from, if if they're taking off from Romania. One thing's for sure, for certain, the F-16s are not going to be able to take off from Ukraine. So if F-16s are going to be used in this conflict, they're going to have to take off from collective West NATO airfields. And the question is, will Russia hit those airfields, or will they just decide to allow those F-16s to enter the conflict, and then they're going to shoot those F-16s down with the NATO pilots in those F-16s, or retired NATO military piloting those F-16s? Now, this could be the plan of the neocons. The plan could be to give one last shot at trying to pull NATO into this conflict by baiting Russia into hitting an airfield. That could be the play going on here. I imagine the Pentagon, the neocons, even Milley, I believe Milley even said that the F-16s are not going to make any difference because Russia has air superiority. I think even Milley said that Russia has hundreds, thousands of fighter jets. So even Milley made a statement like 6 months ago saying that 40, 50, 60 F-16s is not going to make a difference. It's not going to be the wonder weapon. I think those are the exact words that Milley used. But perhaps the play from the neocons with the F-16s is to try and bait Russia into hitting an airfield in Romania or Poland, hoping that that will trigger some sort of Article 5 scenario, which would then push NATO into this conflict, or possibly push NATO into the conflict. And Article 5 doesn't necessarily compel all of the NATO members to go to war with Russia, by the way, but maybe that's what the neocons are hoping for. Because without NATO or without regime change in Moscow, there's zero chance for Ukraine to actually win this conflict. And even NATO involved in this conflict is not going to deliver a victory for the collective West or for Ukraine. It's just going to deliver an even bigger defeat for NATO. Because Russia, which is using just 10% of its military at the moment, if NATO were to get involved in this conflict, well, then Russia would really have to engage its military in this conflict, and NATO is going to suffer a devastating defeat, perhaps a permanent defeat. But, the neocons, this could be their play. This could be what they're angling for. Let's have those F-16s take off from Poland or Romania, and let's hope that the Russians hit that airfield, and then we can try to get NATO into this conflict. So let's talk about the problems that Ukraine is having, once again, with mobilization. Ukrainian draft dodgers face banking ban. Lawmakers in Kiev are considering denying crucial services to men avoiding conscription on foreign soil. Ukraine may punish draft dodgers who are hiding from mobilization abroad by denying them consular and banking services, MP Vadim Ivchenko told the news outlet Strana UA on Monday. So the Ukrainians that are residing outside of Ukraine, one way to try and get them back into Ukraine, to force them to return back to Ukraine so they can be sent to the front lines to be annihilated by the Russian military, is to deny them of consular services, Ukraine embassy services. For example, renewing an identification. You go to your embassy and maybe you want to renew a passport or something like that. And by denying them banking services. So most of these Ukrainians who are living abroad, they most certainly still have a bank account in Ukraine. And so one way to try and force them to return to the country is to go after their bank accounts in Ukraine. Terrible stuff. But I look at this as the globalists balloon testing stuff like this on Ukrainian people for now, but I could see them keeping a close eye as to how this works. If this really does bring Ukrainians living abroad, if this really does bring them back into Ukraine, this is effective. I can see the globalists looking at this and saying, okay, so if we deny people access to certain services, government services and banking services, we can get them to do some pretty extreme stuff. Interesting. Very interesting. I can see the globalists taking an interest in watching if this scheme actually works, because this is something that they could very much roll out to the masses. So let's do a quick update on Serbia and the color revolution that took place Christmas Eve in Serbia. And the latest reports are that the coalition umbrella, this umbrella party, Serbs for violence. No, I'm sorry, Serbs against violence. Serbs against violence. They went back out onto the streets in lesser numbers, and they demanded the release of something like 40 people that had been arrested for their participation in the what is now a failed color revolution. But let's see how everything unfolds. But they went back out onto the streets the other day, and they tried to force the police to release these 40 individuals who were taken into custody as the umbrella party Serbs for violence. I mean, Serbs against violence, as they were busting up administrative buildings. All from an election that took place about a week ago, and this umbrella party feels like there was election fraud. Maybe there was some election fraud. I don't know. But from what I understand, Vucic's party actually won by quite a big margin, something like 45% compared to Serbs for violence. I mean, Serbs against violence. This umbrella party got something like 25%. Now in Belgrade, I think the difference was smaller, but I'm not sure what the numbers were in Belgrade between Vucic's party, I believe it's called the Progressive Party of Serbia, and Serbs against violence. And keep in mind that Serbs against violence, this umbrella party is not really one single political party. This is 4, 5, 6 different political parties cobbled together to form an umbrella party, in the hopes that if you put together these 5 or 6 parties, you would be able to defeat the main party, which was Vucic's party, which is the trick that they used in the Czech Republic, and it worked. And it's the trick that they tried to use in Hungary, and they got smacked down, and Orban gave them a huge defeat. But this is the game plan now of the European Union. They like to do this now. They whatever government they want to overthrow, they now take a bunch of smaller political parties and they put them together and create a new coalition umbrella, and they give it a really, really fancy, fun, weird, strange name. And they hope that party will be able to remove the number one incumbent political party. That's the new tactic that the EU likes to use now, which is kind of messed up when you think about it. That's cheating right there when you think about it. What does the Communist Party have in common with the, I don't know, the far right party, with the Green Party, with the Libertarian Party? I don't know. But that's what the EU does now. They take all these parties, which are on different parts of the political spectrum, and they just cobble them together. And they promise them power and money and all these things, as long as they brand themselves as pro-EU. The EU says, okay, just brand yourselves as pro-EU, and we'll give you all this money and power and glory, and you'll rule over whatever country they're trying to regime change. And that's cheating, man. I mean, to me, that's cheating. If a political party cannot stand on its own, then so be it. But putting together all of these different parties under one umbrella and trying to misdirect the people into thinking that this is like one entity, that's cheating, man. That's cheating, but that's what the EU is doing now. And they're doing it a lot. I mean, this is now standard practice. I think any country that is having an election now, especially in Europe, what they should do is they should pass a law which says, look, you can form a coalition if you win and you're the number one party, then yes, you could form a coalition. But none of this coalition BS before the election. That's nonsense. None of this umbrella party stuff. No. Countries should put a stop to this. And they should put this in their constitution. After the election, yes, the leading party has a mandate to form a coalition. The party that gets the most votes has a mandate to form a coalition. But not before. Not before. It's nonsense. So I think the EU is cheating right there. They're cheating. But anyway, there are reports from Serbian media which claim that the country that was most heavily involved in this color revolution was Germany. Germany is denying this. Specifically, Deutsche Welle, which is a German media company, they have denied that they had any involvement in this color revolution, and a lot of the media outlets, which are controlled by Vučić and his party, they are coming out with statements saying that Deutsche Welle and Germany, they were the most active in putting together this regime change, Maidan color revolution operation. And I have received read reports, and I cannot confirm any of this, that some of the members of this umbrella coalition party, Serbs Against Violence, that they were actually in Germany a couple of weeks before the election, and they were actually meeting with the Green Party and German officials at the Bundestag, but I can't confirm this. I cannot confirm any of this. I actually looked for stories which covered this, but I couldn't find any actual documented stories which show that these officials from Serbia were actually in Germany. But we do know that Samantha Power was in Germany, was in Serbia in May of 2023, if that means anything. So we do know that. And we know that wherever Samantha Power goes, a regime change is coming, right? So we know some trouble is coming to that country. So anyway, that's an update as to what happened in Serbia. And I think we can do a clown world. This clown world is from Turkey, where a TV presenter had a Starbucks cup and she was fired. In Turkey, a TV channel fired a host for drinking Starbucks amid a widespread boycott due to the company's support for Israel. Our organization will continue to stand on the side of Gaza and the Turkish people and defend their feelings to the end, the channel noted. So fired because you had a Starbucks cup, because there is a boycott against Starbucks because of Starbucks' support for Israel. So that was an interesting story right there. Did anyone see the Tucker Carlson interview with Kevin Spacey, who was playing the role of Frank Underwood? That was an interesting segment from Tucker Carlson. I'm not so fond of Kevin Spacey, but I think that Tucker was trying to make a point. Life is art, and life is imitating art, and art is imitating life, and politics is just one TV show, one theatrical presentation or something like that. I don't know. But Tucker was trying to make a point with Frank Underwood and Kevin Spacey. So that was an interesting interview. A lot of people are pushing back against Tucker because, well, Kevin Spacey, he doesn't have I would say he doesn't have the best rep, though all his court cases, he has won all of his court cases, or they have been dismissed. I'm not quite sure how many court cases, but anyway, it was an interesting segment from Tucker Carlson. I'll end the video there, the Duran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, Telegram, Rockfin, and Twitter X, and go to the Duran shop. 20% off. Use the code Christmas20. Take care.